Hello. Today I have the honor of presenting Intermek. Intermek has been around for over 40 years. They make precision mechanics. For those of you who aren't familiar with that, that means making metal parts very perfectly. They supply these precision mechanics to the major OEMs in the region, including Electrolux, Yakutsi, Savio, and Kleber and Silka, among others. Not only do they create the parts for these OEMs, they also do third-party assembly. Today, Intermek has over 30 employees, but it started back in 1972. In 1986, they started implementing their first CNCs. Those are the computers and, well, computer machines that work the metal, along with the craftsmen who work the metal. In 1991, they networked all of their CNCs to work together. In 2000, they adopted the CAD/CAM software. And then 2008 hit. 2008 was a big year for the company, both in terms of the financial crisis, which affected the whole region, if not the whole world. Plus, inside Intermek, they had a generational handoff from father to son in the company. That didn't stop Intermek, though. From 2008, they really only just improved. In 2009, they started a new brand, you could say, of wind turbines, really creating a whole new level of sophistication for the company. And in 2012, they reached state-of-the-art technology in their field. In 2014, they decided to take it up a notch. They wanted to adopt the lean process principles. They looked for ways to improve the efficiency of their company. And that brings us to today, 2016. Now, the idea is what was already stated earlier in a presentation. Somebody said, you can't improve on what you don't measure. So, the principle is to measure all possible available information that happens on the factory floor. Take that information, store it, analyze it, and use it for future improvement. So, should we start with the video? So here is a video that wraps up very, very nicely what it is they do.
strong applause, please.
So now we can get to the interesting part.
A break. Because yesterday we were discussing about hardware revolution, software revolution, and manpower care. And the presentation of your company is not only CNC, it's people. And he pays attention to people, and something that we have to do with our project. Because we have to transform, we have to transform workers into smiling person. I'm touched. Now,
so I can continue. Okay. In that video, you can see that Intermek wants to focus on what they're best at, which is precision mechanics. They want to leave to the workers the craftsmanship for which they've been hired, and leave to the computers the collecting of data, which computers do best. That's the whole idea behind this new evolution that they're doing. Customer demands have changed since 2008. The market requires immediate response, flexibility, and adaptability for every order that comes in. Long-term planning isn't really possible like it used to be. Orders come in more sporadically, and they're more unique. So Intermek has sought to come up with a solution that can be very quickly responsive to customers. So the lean manufacturing approach aids in all of these principles they're trying to achieve. For efficiency, Intermek has developed a software called the quote collector. The idea of the quote collector is to work in tandem with the customer and the planning office to gather all the data to fulfill any given order. This data is then preserved for any future order, and it is also available for a customer to check the status of their order at any time in the process. This helps satisfy customer expectations. It also then helps to satisfy the workers because they are not stuck doing paperwork. Everything is preserved, there are fewer errors, and more man-hours can be spent actually developing the product, and that is really where you want your time spent. Intermek has developed also an amazing little device called an iBeacon. It's a chip inside of a card, and it tracks every order using a QR code on the actual paper order, and it works with the chip inside this card. Every person, every employee will wear one of these, and it follows them around on the plant floor or in the office, automatically communicating with the computer and the work order, showing everything that needs to be done to complete the order and in what process is that. So Marco can demonstrate how this works.
Yes, this is a fast demonstration about the concept. In the screen you can see the proximity of the iBeacon to the tablet. So if in the work in the factory, if an operator go far away, the system collect the data and understand if the operator is working near, closer to the tablet or not. The screen will become red if we go far away. Okay. You can see. This is the base of the concept of the system that we are developing.
This is currently in testing.
So this system is currently in testing, and the whole purpose is to not watch your employees to see where they go, but because it kind of seems like that at first glance, but that's not it. It has nothing to do with that. The whole idea is to figure out where are those man-hours spent, because think of how much more accurately you could provide an estimate to the manufacturer, to your client, if you knew exactly how many hours it was going to take to fulfill an order. How much more satisfied would your customer be if you actually met that estimate and you didn't go over it, like it always happens in manufacturing, or anywhere for that matter. And then the work, yes, go ahead.
Have you tested already?
Yes, this is a demo that we did in the company. And, this is just a screen to show you different, to show you the performance of the system.
And are your workers happy? So how did they welcome this? This
Yeah.
company?
Look at that, that's the workers' involvement part, actually. You might be surprised, but the workers are really on board with this because it makes their jobs better. They don't have to spend time doing crappy paperwork full of errors that nobody wants to do. It's mundane and it takes longer for everyone involved. Instead, as you can see in the video, everyone who works at Intermek is passionate about what they're doing. This way they can actually focus on their hands-on artisan craftsmanship and not doing paperwork. So the workers' involvement, they get to refine their skills and do more sophisticated tasks because the lower level data collection, updating, making photocopies, carrying paper around, that's all left to these devices. It transfers the information automatically. This way, it's also much more efficient for the people who have to account for the man-hours spent on any given project after the order has been fulfilled. It's far more accurate as well. No one has to worry about this being inaccurate when they say, gosh, how much time did that take? We don't really know. We have to go back, calculate it, make some guesses. You know, this device eliminates all of that headache. Okay. You want to go continue?
Yes.
Yeah. So. Okay. So, before this is taking place, what the system is now, Intermek already uses visual planning of their orders. They have a system on the factory floor to organize all the work that's coming in, that's coming out, and has to be used for each machine and which each machine needs to do. This device will allow for better sharing of work and workload. It will decrease bottlenecks of work because they can see very clearly between all the machines which one has a lot of tasks to do, which one has none. All the workers will be kept more or less at an even level of workflow. So the idea of adapting better awareness is the more we all know, the better we can all work. Okay, next. So this smart interface allows for an input of data, both by the customer and the planning office and the worker who's on the machine at the time. The instant notification comes into play when, say there is a client who wants to update their order, change something about the making of the order. The next time that worker goes to machine to create the product, they will have a window popping up in real time, automatically, instant notification, so they can see what it is they need to do to comply to that order. And they can also put in any data that could be useful in the future. Like this, over time, every time they fulfill an order, there's a best practice that will be kind of captured, if you will, in the system, preserved for the next future order. Over time, every customer satisfaction will go up. So the high, go ahead. Okay. This is just to give you an overview of the information circuit and how it works. You see in the yellow, you've got the customer. The customer puts in their data for their order and what they want. This is the customer portal. They can also use this portal to check the status of their order at any time. Not unlike if you order something on Amazon. Everything you've ever ordered is available. You have your history. You also have the current status. This is the quote collector interface that they've developed. But there's a second part to this tablet that's run by the operator, anyone who's at Intermek. They can get all the information that the customer has put in, so everyone is on the same page, so to speak. And they can put in it whatever work order information they need to create the order. All of this information is then stored on a cloud. The service is the Amazon Web Services. And it is maintained there securely for the current and any future orders. So the next time the customer comes and they wants to modify something he did, you already have all the information. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Quite literally in this case. Okay. So the software as a service, here are some of the character traits of the software they're developing. I'm not going to go into the details because it's not really my area. But they're working in collaboration with a software company who's coming up with these chips and programming the chips. Okay. So, you have an enormous twofold benefit from these devices. First, the customers. The customers are much happier. Their satisfaction increases. They get individual attention, but Intermek doesn't have to spend all the excess man hours giving that individual attention. Because as the customers put in their information, it's kept for the next time. It's continually refined and improved. Customers are more satisfied because they can check the status of their order and they feel like they're getting more attention on their particular case. Quotes come back much faster. Within the lean principle, Intermek has reduced the amount of steps necessary to give a quote back. And the adaptive production is really tailored service for each product they need to make.
It's totally unfair to interrupt this kind of presentation because the silence you made is a confirmation that at least who is not surprised about what they are doing? Who is not surprised? Raise the hand. Marco. Impressive.
Yeah.
Where is Fraunhofer?
That's great.
Who don't know? Now, suppose we have to come back.
I can wrap it up.
But I don't want to leave this thing. Because we have to scout some of the advanced experience to mix up our project as a scouting activity. And the presentation Marco made is, you will be visited. Sure not. Because it's one of the good or best practice that we can have. Attention to people, customer transparency, and whatsoever. You are in our focus. But which is your advantage? You don't do it for gifts.
No.
We already had some Christmas gift.
Oh, I think we can explain the advantage.
Yes, it's the last part.
But
It's the last part. Look at how much productivity, using the same number of employees, how much more productive was the company able to become? Cut down those man hours wasted on data entry, fixing errors, and reaccounting. Instead, focus all of that on sophisticated craftsmanship to make the product
I
better.
have a question for Marco. Now that you improve efficiency, you have room available for additional customers.
Room available.
Yeah. Can you have new customers?
Yes.
Can you have new customers? What do you think about a presentation to his Chamber of Commerce Italy Germany? And you are here to make
I was
some
thinking about this.
Christmas
I just
gift.
sent an email to a colleague in Munich asking him if he knows already your company or if you get in contact to us previously with our organization, because I think this is surely a very interesting company who has to be presented surely to the German companies. Don't know if you have any German customer at this time.
No,
No.
we are working in Italy and
Okay.
You don't need the passport to go there. You just
Just speak
to
to
we
you.
are
book it.
shipping a container to Canada.
That's
So
okay.
we are working for a foreign company.
We'll speak together.
I guess that some of the target of our project are already in place. Because transferring the experience, sharing good behavior, expanding the business, if it's competitive, is what BIFOCAlps want to do. And thank you very much
Yeah.
for your presentation. You have a few more slides, but you will give us. So I interrupt properly.
No, just we close with the benefit of this innovation because this year we have 22%.
Yeah.
The message
The
is
benefit
they
is-
have room for new customers.
Yeah. The benefit is already being realized. Compared to 1 year ago, their turnover is already up 22%. So,
Congratulations, Marco.